Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakah Wadash. A double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is They Shall Mingle Themselves with the Seed of Men. Right, and this is talking about the Edomites mingling themselves, right, with the people, and it's backfired, right? So we're seeing these scriptures speak here in these last days, right? And this is beautiful because it all is coming to pass. I'll grab two scriptures here. Habakkuk 2. It says, Habakkuk 2 and 1, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon a tower and will watch to see what he shall say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai answered me and said, write the vision, which is these prophecies, and make it plain upon the tables, which is this Bible, that he may run that readeth it, right? So running with the correct message, the 100% truth of the scriptures and what they mean. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time that the end shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right. So pretty much it's here. You know, these things are happening. You know, everyday prophecy is being fulfilled. So I wanted to grab also, I think it's Luke 21 and 20. Let's see. Luke 21 and 22, it says, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. So we're living in a time now where, you know, the end has manifested itself. And, you know, all these lamentations, mournings, and woes are being fulfilled. You know, spirits created for vengeance, you know, different things happening. But what's happening right now is that this Daniel chapter 2, verse 40, it goes into the Roman Empire, right? And we know that America is the revised Roman Empire, right? America was, the deadly wound was healed. And what sprang forth from that healing of the wound is America, right? So when it's saying Rome here, it's speaking of America. It says, Daniel 2 and 40, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise, right? So that's exactly what the fourth Roman Empire did, and then following after that, the America did, right? That's why the scriptures say, let me see. So here. I believe it's 13, but let me see. Yeah, it's 13. All right, I just want to grab this real quick. All right, Revelation 13 and 1, it says, and I stood upon the sun of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Right. So basically, this is the forming of America. Right. You go into the 7 heads and 10 horns, which the 7 heads represent 10 kingdoms. The 10 horns represents little kingdoms, which it goes in to explain it down at the bottom. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, right? So ultimately what comes out of that, what came out of the Roman Empire is America, right? It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him, right? So the point is, what America, when they came into power, they dropped these nuclear bombs, right, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right, on Japan, and pretty much no nation wanted war with America because of the weapons that they had, right? Let me see this other one. right here. So it says the beast from the earth, right? Revelation 13:11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. He spake as a dragon. Once again, it's going to America, and the two horns is your two different parties that America, consists of, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because again, it was the same as the Roman Empire, who had the two parties, the upper class and lower class, the patricians and the Palladians. Okay, it says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. So he's following after the Roman Empire and causes the earth and them which draw therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right. So a lot of the customs that we do here in America revert back to the Roman Empire. Right. Even the structures that they build, the laws, the councils, the Senate. Right. It says, and he doeth great wonders so that he make a fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Right. And that's the point. So that fire was those nuclear, missiles that he first shot off first. All right. So going back to Daniel 2, it says, Daniel 2:40, and the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces to do all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Right. So that goes into the fact that it says here, it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So that's pretty much the point of what's happening. You have, of course, the NATO, right, which also goes into those 10 horns. Let me grab 17. Well, I got 17 there. Right, so it's like I forgot what I want to get. I'll read this again. Daniel 2:42. It says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Right, so they're partly strong and partly broken because they're divided and how they want to continue or proceed, like their policies, their laws and things like that. But they're strong militarily, right? And that goes into the whole beast system, the whole NATO and EU and America together, right? It says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Okay, I know what I want it now. And they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. I want to grab Habakkuk because they're gathering nations unto themselves, right? Keeping people to themselves. This Habakkuk 2:5, it says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. But gather unto him all nations and heap unto him all people. See, so these Edomites, they heap people unto themselves, right? They heap people onto their lands and all of that. But obviously, now in these last days, they're thinking that that's a problem. So they're getting out certain individuals. They're getting out the Chinese out of the their schools and whatnot. Some Indians they're getting out also. They're kind of going back and forth. They're confused on what they want to do, and of course, the majority they're trying to get the Israelites out also, right? But they heap people into themselves. That's why you have like these different top level individuals. It could be a Chinese man, Indian man, whatever the case may be. Black, so-called black man, right? Up in these high positions. I think even one of the generals that Trump just fired was a so-called black man, top general up there, for war and all of that. But anyway, so that's what's happening. That's the point. They're mingling themselves and they're not mingling together, right? They're not cleaving one together. And here's the some proof that speaks to that, of what's happening in the current world.
Of this conversation. However, what do you think about France recognizing Palestine and the Brits claiming they will do so soon if the starvation doesn't stop? I don't know how they're going to measure that. Is the wall beginning to around Netanyahu beginning to crack?
Well, let's back up a minute just for a second and understand that Senator Angus King is a very skilled politician. He knows his state very, very well. He is not dependent upon money from the Jewish lobby to retain his seat.
Right.
And he can probably defeat someone who is then financed by the Jewish lobby against him. So I would not characterize Angus King as someone who's leading the pack in a righteous direction. I think he's looked over the terrain. He's figured out what is right and wrong. He's moving carefully, but everything's a political calculation. And, he's right, of course, but that's all that I would say about it. Now, as far as the French are concerned, 1 in every 5 adults in France right now is a Muslim Arab or African of some kind.
See, and that's the key right there. They have mingled themselves, with each other, and they're not cleaving. Now that everything is, coming out here in these last days, the wicked is being revealed to be the wicked, right? And the people is not, they're not with the shits.
That makes a big difference. And they live in sections of various cities like Paris or Lyon or Marseille. They're very violent, and they are unafraid to take to the streets and threaten the police, French citizens, or anybody that they don't like who doesn't agree with them. So I would say that Macron is saying that, not necessarily for the reasons we would like. He's recognized what is fundamentally wrong, and there should be some way out of it. And he's picked the Palestinian state issue as the way to do it. But the truth is, it's in response to the popular uprising potential that exists in France right now. I think Starmer is not far from that either.
Right.
So, I would like to think that there's
right. There's no better moral. So let's see what he says.
A better moral compass at work, Judge, but I just don't see it.
Right. It's about survival. This is Job 20 and 18. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be disgraced, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Right, and this word wicked goes into the word labor, right, which is your working class people. Right, so the people are coming against these devils. Right, this guy, the French President Macron, and soon to be Stammer, are part of that beast system, which goes into those 10 horns I was mentioning. Right, those which is the NATO and EU, and they're looking at what's happening in the world, and they're seeing that the decisions that America is making behind Israel is not working out for them, financially, and even just, the scriptures can explain it better, because the people would come against these devils. All right, I believe it's 15. Right, second chapter 15, verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition, right, trying to overthrow your government among men, and invading one another, right? And of course, these devils going to fight themselves, of course, and that's what's happening. They don't like what's happening. The country is failing. They move from wherever they came from. They in France now, and they're like, it's not looking good. Prices is bad. The economy is dying, and they're about to go against their government officials. And this dude, Macron and Stammer, they see this. Right, they can't fight these civilians. It's for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So the people are gonna do what people do, right? That's the point. Revelation 17, 10 horns. It says Revelation 17 and 14. I just get 16. Because it goes into the 10 horns, that's a part of the beast system, right? Revelation 17 and 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the poor, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Right? So basically these nations was only set to give their power and their strength unto America for a certain period of time. But we can see now that power and grip is slipping away, because the part where it says they're partly strong and partly broken is coming to pass. we can clearly see that they're separating themselves from America and even Israel, right? Or the banking elites, you know? So, that's pretty much it. Lord willing, we edify from lesson, Shalom, to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children, Shalom.